Hey y'all, I'm Carolina Tony. Today the road brings me to historic Camden, South Carolina. I've been here before, but they have made a lot of changes since I was here last. Today I'm going to just give you a few of the highlights of some of the changes. And also, if you're looking for a good day trip to take your kids, this is a great place to go to learn for the children as well as the adults. We'll get started right after this station identification. An old covered wagon, and his wagons is just like this. It's what would have took settlers to and fro to move about this country. Here's a bit of history that you may find interesting. Have you ever heard of a corduroy road? Well, in the early days in South Carolina, roads and trails would be sometimes marshy and very muddy, especially in the low areas. So to make it easier to travel, the colonists built what they called corduroy roads by placing logs perpendicular to the roadway. Sometimes they were rough and dangerous to the horses and wagons, but they were also probably the only way that you could get through the thick mud. Historic Camden has really embraced its colonial past. At one time there were just a few colonial buildings that were here. Over the years there have been a lot that is added to it. Even constructed a little mini amphitheater to have programs under. This is called the Bradley House from around 1800. It came as a gift to Camden from the Catawba Timber Company. This residence was built east of Camden on land granted to John Bradley. It was moved on a flatbed and restored. The construction and the interior's large room with sleeping loft is not accessible, are typical of the early log cabins in the area. This cabin is being used for pottery. I have never seen this before, but it's quite ingenious. This big wheel, an apprentice would turn, and the rope would work on a series of pulleys to operate the potter's wheel. Good example of some of the turnings that has been done on the potter's wheel. I do believe they are in the process of building a kiln, and I'm gonna guess because of the shape that I see there, these molds here, this would be where the door would be, or they would lay bricks over it, pull the wood out. Well, that's fire brick, so pretty sure when it's all said and done, this will be a working kiln to fire the pottery. This is made right inside the potter's shop there. And mud that is used to make pottery. Basically, a redoubt is a fortification. You see the trench in front. They would dig a trench and throw the dirt up for making a hill and stick logs with points on it as a type of defense. And there are some folks in here that are actually in the process of building this thing now. Paid labor, but back in the day when one of these was really built, it was built with unpaid labor, if you know what I mean. See the wall of logs. The men would stand on the elevated surface and shoot over the top of the wall to defend the city. This is the Drakeford house from around 1812. Richard Drakeford, who built this house, was recorded as being a gallant patriot soldier during the Revolution. The log cabin originally stood about 12 miles north of Camden. It was dismantled and reconstructed here on this site in 1970. And this is a Dominicker chicken. Hey, chicken. And he is a friendly chicken. Let's talk a little bit about history. Of course, you could read books in school and in the library, and you get a little glimpse of the who's, the hows, and the whats. Things that actually happened in history, or at least they think they did. Some things can be documented as to having actually happened, especially when there are countless witnesses. But sometimes they don't have countless witnesses. They just go by what one person or a few people said. Perhaps a supporter of one person said. Can you believe it? Maybe, maybe not. Evidence of what I'm telling you can be seen today. Things that we know for a fact has happened. Yet the media is telling you something entirely different. Perhaps something that you witnessed or saw yourself, but yet the media tells you something that ain't the way I saw it. So how do we study history and understand what's going on and know it to be truth? Well, get it from more than one source. I encourage you to read letters concerning the Civil War, concerning the Revolutionary War. Read letters from the soldiers themselves that wrote home and tell what they saw. And there are all types of eyewitness reported accounts. Read it all, put it together, and sometimes we have to figure it out for ourselves. The Craven house belonged to John Craven, Joseph Kershaw's accountant. It was originally located on Mill Street. This colonial Georgian house or office was moved here in 1970. Prior to the arrival of the Europeans to the Camden area, the Catawba American Indians lived here. This is all new since I visited here last. And these buildings, they look very old, but they're not very old. They're just a few years old. Here is a monument. Does anyone know what that is? It's the South Carolina State dog, the Boykin Spaniel. The Boykin community is just a few miles up the road from historic Camden. And look, a little mini Boykin Spaniel. This building is pretty cool. It is available to be rented for special events. Major General Johann de Cobb's conduct at the Battle of Camden in South Carolina on August the 16th, 1780 was one of the outstanding feats of sheer bravery during the American Revolution. His powerful physique towered over his outnumbered Continental troops as he led them forward against the British line, only to receive 11 wounds that would surely drain his life away until his death in Camden 3 days later. All right, here are British troops, and something I want to call out. Look at the face. And there's a purpose behind this. They have that look like, I'm better than you, and you just need to go on back home. Let's look at the Patriots. Look at the look in this guy's face. Determination. I'm afraid, but yet I have a duty. And that look, that's a look of bravery if I've ever seen one. This is the John McKay house from around 1800. He was a Camden native and prominent physician. He used this building as his office. It was originally located near the Robert Mills Courthouse on Broad Street. It is a transitional architectural style for Camden. It was restored in 2014 and 15, and this building is interpreted as an 18th century tavern in honor of Dr. McKay's father, owner of the McKay Tavern, and not in 1794. Okay, well that is going to do it for our trip to the historic Camden, South Carolina site. I hope you've learned a little bit here. If you're wanting to get out and do a day trip, this is an excellent place to come to learn a little bit about history. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up. Be sure to share this video with your family and friends. But until next time, y'all have a good day.